Hello, my name is Brandt Campbell. I'm a full stack engineer in Atlanta, Georgia. Today I will be doing a quick overview of how to build a website using HTML and CSS and deploy it onto GitHub pages. So let's get started. So for those of you that are not familiar, HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. HTML is a language that is designed to be displayed in a web browser. So it's just the basic structure of the code that you're able to build upon and create your website. So basically, it's for our analogy, we're going to say it's the house. If you're building a house, it's just like the structure, the walls, the roof, nothing inside, nothing fancy. It's just it is technically a house. Next up is CSS. That stands for Cascading Style Sheets. So it's basically how everything's going to look. It's what colors they might be, how big they are, where they're oriented on the screen, things of that nature. And it's what you use to actually make your website look how you actually want it to look. So that would be in our house analogy, that would be like what color the wallpaper is, how many windows, things like that. And lastly, you can also use JavaScript. We will not be doing that today, but you can add JavaScript to your website, and that basically acts like the plumbing or the electricity. So that's what actually makes stuff happen inside the house. You flip a switch, the lights come on, you turn on a faucet, water comes out. It's how the users will be able to interact with your website. So since we're premiering on GitHub pages, the first thing you're going to do is need to get a GitHub account. So you go to github.com and register your username, email, and password. Verify with your email. When you go to your profile, it should look something like this. You look up in the top right-hand corner, there's this little plus arrow, new repository. And you put in a repository name. So for this repository, it has to be a very specific name. It has to be your username plus .github.io. So for me, it's reboot82.github.io, and that's going to be the actual URL for your website. So now let's get into the code. When you're starting out, you can create a new HTML document. It'll start out blank, but you can quickly fill it in with what we call boilerplate code by just adding an exclamation point, hitting enter, and you're good to go. That's going to give you just everything you need for it to actually be able to run on a browser. Then you'll start adding stuff in yourself. You can connect style sheets and JavaScript files using the link tag and the script tag, respectively. And then you can add more stuff into the body, and that will be your actual website. As you can see, I've done a lot. I'm not going to really get into that, but you can see we've got classes, we've got IDs, and that is going to be helpful when we go into the CSS, because CSS, like I said, is all about styling. And once you connect it, you can actually take those classes and IDs, and they'll be used to communicate between the two files. So if this has this ID, then do this to it. If this has that class name, then do this to it. Things of that nature. So it's just how you get those two files to communicate with each other properly and do what you want them to do. Once you've got all your CSS and other stuff done, then you'll go into your terminal. You got to do git init first. So that'll be git space init. After that, you can do git add all. So git add all or git add period. That's going to add all of your changes, and then you can commit those changes with git commit. First commit, if it's your first commit, that's just the general rule. And then you have to connect it to the GitHub repository. So you do git remote add origin and then the name of the repository. So it's github.com/reboot82.github.io. And then lastly, you're going to do git push -u origin master, and that will push everything, all of your code, to your repository. You can then reload your repository page, and it should look something like this. After a few minutes, you should be able to go to that URL at the top of the page. You just copy and paste that, or type it into your browser, whichever you prefer, and there's your website. And you can do changes and just add those changes to your GitHub repository, wait a few minutes, and they should appear on your actual website page. So thank you very much. I appreciate you taking the time to watch this. Hope you learned something, and good luck with all your coding. Have a great day.